If you're new to this channel, we're James and Sarah, also known as The Whole World or Nothing.
We used to be full-time backpackers, exploring the world and writing about our travels on our blog.
And then the world changed.
We got repatriated from Peru and found ourselves back in the UK at a loose end. So we decided to do a van conversion.
Make sure you hit subscribe now so you can join us in this series as we share the highs and many lows of converting an old Mercedes Sprinter panel van into our dream home on wheels.
Last week, after an intensive search, we were super excited to finally get our hands on our very own Mercedes Sprinter panel van.
We'd owned her for all of 45 minutes before we were literally hit with our first setback. A massive rock flipped up off the motorway and cracked our windscreen.
As we arrived back from a trip to get that fixed the next morning, we discovered a second and more concerning setback. The spot on the drive where the van had been parked was covered in oil patches.
A quick peek underneath confirmed we had a pretty big leak, and we began to worry that our plan to convert the van could be unravelling before we'd even got started. So day one, and the mood was pretty low.
I'm just worried actually that it's a bigger issue than we think it is. That's happened within 24 hours of actually having the van.
Yeah.
So are there going to be other things wrong with it?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just in such a bad mood about it.
It's not just that either. We
No.
planned to do a load of stuff to the van this afternoon.
Yeah.
And there's not really any point in doing anything until we know what's going on with that. Because worst case scenario is that we have to take the van back to the dealership. So we don't want to start stripping it out and doing modifications when that's a possibility.
We spent more than what we budgeted for to buy a newer van to try and eliminate some of this stuff. And in less than a day, there's just all this stuff happening. The windscreen, obviously, that's a complete accident.
Yeah.
And then this now, I just don't even know at this moment in time, honestly, if I even want to do it. So what's the latest?
Well, we've spoken to the dealership and they spoke to the workshop and they reckon that it is the oil filler pipe. And what they're saying is basically there's a seal in there and it might be the seal that's gone or it might need tightening. There's a few options that it could be, but apparently it's a pretty common fix or a common problem and a simple fix. So hopefully we'll be able to get that sorted this morning and then get started again on the actual back of the van a bit later today.
We're just cleaning the engine because it's absolutely covered
Sprayed oil everywhere.
in oil. So it's this bit here where the oil's leaking out from under here, so when the engine's on and it's ticking over you can see it actually like dribbling down under here. So we think when we were driving, obviously on the motorway at like 70 mile an hour, it's just been spurted out of there and just literally gone all over the engine and all the way down and everywhere.
A trip to the garage confirmed that the seal had gone on the oil filler pipe, so it was a really simple fix.
Panic over, we taped out the layout of the van on the floor to double check it actually fitted.
One of the first things that you have to get sorted when you're looking at designing your van is the actual layout, the floor plan. And it's surprisingly difficult to fit everything that we want into such a small space. So, because we're looking at having a bathroom with a shower, an oven, a fridge, bed, 2 seating areas and a pull-out table and storage as well, it's starting to look pretty tight. On paper it looks a little bit bigger than this, so I think we're going to have to make some adjustments to the measurements, but a few adjustments, we should be there.
So now we've got the floor layout sorted out and we've tinkered with it and got it how we want it. We've got to take everything out. So we've got to take the panels on the sides out, we've got to take the panels on the floor out, we've got to take the wheel arch covers off and just basically see what's underneath, see if we need to treat any rust, give it all a good clean, just take it back to basics, and that's where we start from.
The van we bought was only 5 years old and it looked in pretty decent nick, but you can never really tell what might be lurking underneath the ply lining.
So we were keen to get it off as quickly as possible, especially as we've been delayed a couple of days by the oil leak.
It's a pretty straightforward job and was mainly a case of unscrewing everything and slicing through the silicone, holding it in place with a Stanley knife.
We were really pleased not to discover any nasty surprises, just good, clean, rust-free paintwork that the plyboard had kept in great condition.
The floor's proving a little bit tricky to get out. It's got these... Oh, you done it?
Did that go?
They're like factory fitted and like seriously secure, aren't they?
Yeah, everyone that I've seen do one of these conversions that will try and take the floor out has had real difficulties doing it. We haven't even got the proper tool, so what I think would be best to do is to order the right tool and then just try again tomorrow, because the problem is if we strip that bolt, then it's going to be impossible to get out. We're going to have to drill it out, so
Yeah.
I prefer to keep them intact and then try again with the proper thing.
I think that makes sense.
Obviously, with the excitement of finally being able to do something, we didn't take our own advice, and we carried on regardless with brute force and an Allen key.
So how many have we got out?
There's 14, and I think out of the 14 we've got 5 out.
Okay.
So, not too bad, but a bit pointless considering
It's
we
not
need
out.
them all out. Yeah. So, we'll try again tomorrow.
Okay.
Eventually, we decided to move on to other jobs. We removed the bulkhead and started to clean some of the van.
It kind of looks like the top of the van's probably, oh there's a bee, never been cleaned. Because it's quite like, I don't know, it's got like lots of little bits of grit and stuff stuck on it. Obviously solar panels are going up here, and once they're on we won't really be able to clean it properly again, I guess. So yeah, I'm just trying to give it a good clean. I've nearly done half. It's taking so long. It's really hard to scrub it.
It took absolutely ages, but it scrubbed up pretty well in the end. So this is the socket set that I've been waiting for, which will hopefully allow us to actually remove this floor. We've got quite a few of these bolts left, so I'm going to have to give them a go and see if it works.
It was much easier to remove the floor bolts with a ratchet and the correct Torx heads to go on it. So, top tip here, make sure you've got the right tools for the job.
So while I was cleaning the roof, you got them all out?
Yep, and all we need to do now is get this floor out. I think it comes out in 2 bits. Well, there's only 2 bits here, so hopefully it does. And they're velcroed on to the actual van as far as I can see, so might need a bit of leverage and
Okay.
then just yank them out. A quick look underneath confirmed it wasn't held on with velcro, it was glued down. We also discovered the 2 sections of floor were secured together, meaning we'd have to get it out in one.
This is what it looks like underneath. Gonna have to give it a deep clean, get all the muck off, see if there's any rust that we need to treat. But all in all, don't look too bad, right?
It looks pretty good. It's in pretty good shape, yeah.
It was incredible the amount of grime and filth that had piled up underneath the floor. So we swept, hoovered, and washed every piece of bodywork we could reach.
And just as we thought we'd finally finished, we decided to remove this step at the back. And it was a good job we did because it was the filthiest part of the entire van. So that's it, we're going to call it for today. We've got the whole van stripped out, the floor, the panels, everything, and we've got it all cleaned down as well. Make sure you join us next week when we're going to be installing our reversing camera. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, drop us a comment down below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well.